David,
Hold on.
the man.
Tom,
Yes, sir.
you're on camera.
Oh, thank you. It means I can't pick my nose or anything like that?
Do you have a list for
No, you
voting, in
can.
case we have to vote?
No, I don't.
Let me get it.
Wait, maybe she included none.
I can tell you.
She usually does.
There are none.
Okay.
Are you recording?
Yes, we're up.
The bid committee,
Yes, that's for Kitty. Bid and infrastructure. Second.
Take a look at the notes, if you will, and they were taken by,
Oh, the chair has a cold.
yes, I have a code in my dose. By David Boaz, and, I can make one remark. The permit that we applied for was, denied. We wanted to put a fence 6 feet away from the existing and then extend the existing by did I say 6 feet, 6 inches, and then extend the other one by 6 inches. And they said, no, it's gotta be 5 feet. So, I don't know, what he has planned for it, but he had mentioned putting up the chain link fence, sliding those things so you kinda see through.
Is that in there?
Put hedges and then,
Is it in this?
I don't know,
I thought we were gonna do the whole street.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Donald,
How's everyone today?
Donald's the man.
cameras are rolling. Donald, I was telling him that the drawing that we submitted was rejected, and
They want a survey.
we've got a different scheme now, right?
Well, I've still got it in my back pocket, right?
Yeah,
But all I need to do is, we're talking about the two gaps, right?
the two gaps, yeah.
Okay. All they want out of us is a signed survey, which will probably cost us a couple $100, right? He's just gonna sign the existing survey. I would say keep it in our hip pocket.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna still insist upon a 5-foot walkway.
Oh, yeah, but our, they only rejected us because there wasn't a signed survey, last I checked.
Yeah.
They didn't reject the plan itself, they didn't even get that far.
Aren't we doing the whole fence down?
Well, I would hope so.
Oh, okay,
But-
when I hear you
Yeah.
say pieces, it
Listen.
gets me nervous.
Last month, as a stopgap, I said, let me get this in.
Yeah, I know that,
And this way, if it all falls apart and we do nothing, at least we got that in our hip pocket,
okay,
you know, just to close the gaps.
okay,
But
so
I
you're
don't
not
think
doing,
for,
you're just getting it
I
to
don't think in a
happen,
million years we're gonna wind up doing it that way.
Okay.
But it's good to have,
Okay.
just in case.
that's all I'm asking.
And what happened was they're holding us up for lack of a signed survey. I submitted a survey without a stamp on it. So if we have to, we just do it.
Don't we have one from Wallace,
Yeah,
I think?
That's the one I
Ted-
submitted.
Ted
it's in
did
the
it.
database,
That's the one I submitted,
Oh,
and apparently it's not signed or stamped.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'll
so,
ask him to sign it.
well, assuming you guys wanna go that way, in which I don't think you do.
oh, what do you mean?
The two, plug in those two gaps.
No, we don't,
Oh.
Right,
but Wallace should have signed that, he was paid to do that.
Oh.
That's an automatic, just call him up and say, you forgot to sign the survey,
Exactly.
when you're done, Diana.
So,
before we get into it, are there any corrections on the minutes as there is?
everybody get a copy?
Yes,
Oh,
alright, then the minutes are accepted.
David first.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Donald, you wanna take it from here?
yeah, good morning, everyone. I've got the next batch of paving jobs, and there were a couple of big jobs there, so I thought it'd be a good idea to bid it out. We haven't been.
Thank you.
The other vendor that I bid it out to was recommended to us by Eva and Dan. Atlantic Southern works for WPRF and the other properties. I didn't expect as much of a disparity in pricing, but it was significant. And I looked at it 9 ways to Sunday, I can't find the catch, other than maybe this vendor is giving us a low introductory price. But sorry, go ahead, Dave.
Did they both get the same statement or RFP?
The scope is identical.
Okay.
And even after the fact, I double checked and triple checked because I wanna make sure but it's strictly a square footage thing, and they've both quoted us square footage. So,
40 square.
yeah, and it's roughly identical, one's 1,200, one's 1,140. I asked David Boaz to double check this, cause I'm looking for the catch, frankly, it's a big difference.
Well, you know, the major catch was the entire quote overlay process.
Oh, yeah,
You know, no digging down, reflective cracking, blah, blah, blah. They're not that stupid, are they? They're not gonna just come and do an
no, this is, it's a dig up, tack and pave, the whole 9 yards, saw cut, it's identical.
Right.
So at this point, I'm recommending, that we try out this new vendor, give him a shot. And, yeah, first let's make sure that the work is good before we use them again. But assuming that we do, then I wanna see what the second estimate looks like. And then we'll know whether this pricing is real.
Yeah, it could be a door opener, or it could be people who really wanna
Right.
work with us.
The one I want you to look at particularly is the last job, Salisbury C.
What number is that?
That would be,
Southampton Street?
sorry, I saw the Southampton C. It's the last picture, the one with my golf cart parked in the background. I think this job will be a little bit more, involved than usual. I suspect that there's a water main right along that crack, because routes tend not to cross streets at right angles. So, and I know there's a water main in that area. Now, I called the water company and they assured me there wasn't, but I know better. I think we're gonna have to dig this up, and what we're gonna find is the root has, the tree to the left has found the water main, and there's a little bit of a leak, and it's following it. And that's what caused the crack.
Arnold, is this one? We'll look at it.
That's the one, yeah.
Yes,
It looks to me like there's a major patch there that's been done in the past.
No, that's a shadow,
It's a shadow.
yeah.
That's your golf cart, pal. Golf cart.
I'm talking about this line right here.
I know what you're talking about,
Looks
this
like
other
this.
crack here.
Yeah,
It
it's,
looks like this whole section.
no, it's
Right there.
no, that's another crack,
that's a parallel crack,
yeah.
yeah.
So that was the biggest job, I
This is
think.
at Southampton?
It is, all the way
Where
in
they
the back,
widened the road and buried the irrigation
No.
system?
on the opposite side,
Okay.
Southampton C. If you look in the background, you'll see, Dominic's fence over by the Guitar Center.
It looks
I get the
to me-
thanks for that one? Thank you.
Dominic.
Dominic's
Does it
fence.
state
Dominic.
anywhere, on
Little plaque.
Atlantic, Southern Atlantic,
Yeah.
about, you just said cutting it and everything, you know, how they're going to do it?
It's very,
Because,
exactly standard, exactly what the other
oh,
vendors were
because
doing.
down on their contract, I'm only looking at the contract,
Right.
they have it in dark print. Atlantic Southern Paving and Seal Coating, number 13.
Yes,
For reflective cracking of new asphalt overlay due to the crack condition of the existing asphalt pavement.
Yeah.
You know, they're not accepting any responsibility,
nor should they.
that's what I'm
They're
saying.
repairing someone else's work.
So if they repair it and another reflective crack comes up,
Another
There's nothing we
reflective
can do
crack is
about
very likely to happen.
No, not if they dig down.
well, that's what I'm trying
Well,
to say.
these
David.
big jobs, they're gonna have to dig down, cause I gotta look for the leak.
We're gonna deal with this whole issue.
Exactly.
But I'm talking about the other ones, not that one.
It's hard to scale this except from the golf cart.
If you
Yeah,
look at these
kinda why I
This
here,
looks
parked there.
wide.
Like Fairway Street.
like
Oh,
South
This
Drive
thing looks
Berkshire,
at least 3 feet.
It's wider, the crack itself is wider than it was than when I took that picture.
Fairway Street.
What
No,
number
I
is
mean this
that?
whole
What-
patch, this
Number
whole
one.
plug.
Oh, no, it's,
No,
there's
they're all
more
one,
involvement. The total square
look at the
footage
top
of
where it
it
says image, give me a
is,
number.
6040.
total square footage on that job is 340 square feet. There were 3 sections, 110
Are they gonna cut that
square
out,
feet,
or-
50 square feet, and
cut that out,
180.
That's what I'm saying.
So I took a picture of the main crack, but there's some other areas on the left that are gonna have to be dealt with.
Just make sure there's not something underneath.
Like some,
Well, I think they're gonna have to
Anything else?
remove everything down to
Yes,
the
we're gonna have
the
to,
crushed
we're gonna
stone.
have to excavate. I'm almost certain that there's a water main there, because I think that's the water getting to the pool house. So,
I have a question, on all these cracks, Donald,
Yes.
that we see Berkshire, Fairway Street, Southampton A.
yes, these are
Cracks.
walkway repairs.
Are they gonna be just patched or they're gonna be dug out?
No, these will be dug out a couple inches. These are roots, so they're gonna dig out to get the root out.
Yeah, because there's a tree right next door.
Right,
to
there's
it.
no infrastructure involvement there. These are just straight up walkway repairs. So they're
Okay,
gonna,
so they're gonna be cut out,
yeah, they saw cut straight across,
yeah,
they cut out a rectangle, they dig down till they find the
so it
root.
won't reflect again.
Well, the root's gonna grow again, Barbara, where it's gonna
But
grow,
don't
who
we
knows?
stop the root or take out the
Yes.
tree?
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay,
They're
There'll
gonna-
be nothing to reflect if you go all the way down to
Yes.
crushed stone.
But this
That's what
isn't
I'm
a,
saying.
Barbara, this isn't a reflective crack, this is from a root.
the fairway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not fairway.
I'm talking about fairway.
Somerset.
We're onto the walkways now. On these walkway repairs, what they do is they cut out a rectangle, they dig down till they find the root, they remove the root, they put a barrier in, they backfill it, compact, and then they tack and pave new
Alright,
pavement
so
on it.
number 7, number 6,
Right.
number 2,
Yeah,
number 3
Three,
are all walkways.
walkways, yes.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. And
And
they're all root problems.
the way I
right?
prioritize these walkway cracks is I walk them out myself, and if my toe catches on them, they go on the list. Because I can't do them all at once, that'd be insane.
Okay, I just wanna ask something, I was talking before with Donald. We have invested a lot of money in repairs of walkways, am I
Yeah.
right?
I'd say,
You've done a lot that I've seen walking around.
about every 5 to 6 weeks, we do a batch.
Yeah, and by the time you add that all up, the money, why can't we start a project on the walkways? And start like a whole stretch, you know what I mean?
You-
Do the whole walkway.
Well, you have an infrastructure reserve that's growing. As long as we keep our little fingers out of it, we will be able to do that in due course.
But meanwhile, we're investing hundred thousands of dollars in this by the time we're done.
But you can't do
I don't know if
anything
it quite
about it
gets that far,
because
but
the
it's-
trees and the roots are
you
there.
know,
This
And
is-
it's a
Yeah, but you're covering them now, right? You're blocking the root and you're fixing it, is that what you're doing?
yes,
yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
You're-
What I'm saying is, if you take so many footage, large amount, and you see there's trees with cracks like this, let's remove the tree, put in a tree that doesn't grow roots, like a palm tree or something.
well,
not
there'll be
these
a
big
plastic
oaks.
tree.
Well, plastic tree, that's fine with me. No maintenance, that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, we're
Trees have roots.
spending a lot of,
only water.
we're spending a lot of money on repairs.
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
that you should be doing section at a time, even if you have to rip a whole section up and redo it, we're not gonna have this problem.
Yeah, you still gotta have the
I
problem.
kind of agree with what you're saying, and I think we ought to put something into QuickBooks that at a button push tells us how much we're putting into these repairs.
So
Not only for these roads and walkways, but for irrigation.
Yes.
Which I think is the ultimate license to steal, alright? And we need to keep a record of it.
We have,
Because I said to Donald, I've said it a few times, that $8 million is looking better all the time.
Yeah.
If it comes with a nice juicy warranty, that when their $8 million pipes start to break, they fix them at no cost.
Right,
But
but this here, I
I
don't know,
hear
we've
this
been doing a lot of this.
from certain quarters, we get endless complaints about the paving contract.
Right,
We made every effort, as we dug along, where there was a tree, we put in root barriers, right? But nothing is gonna stop a root.
except taking that tree out, putting a tree that doesn't have large roots in
Well,
it.
But
And
they have trees
downside
like
is
that.
that the county will ask you to replace that tree.
Right,
Right.
Measure the circumference and say you have to put in 1 shade tree and 2 palms.
yeah,
So
can you
the
find
cost-
one with
the
not the
cost
big
for
And look, there are
permit to
trees that,
remove
you're right, that
and
have
replace
less of a
is
deep.
exorbitant.
yeah, I've been
you
checking,
really shouldn't be talking over him, he
I'm sorry,
hasn't got a
Don.
whole lot of voice
yeah,
left.
go ahead.
No, I'm saying that the county will measure, tell you have to put in 1 shade tree to match the shade tree that came out. It
Right,
can, of course, be smaller, and 2 palms that are gray bark, 10 feet off the ground, or however they
and
determine it.
the palms, am I
And the
correct,
palm,
don't have,
the palms are the
their
size
circumference
of a
is
bushel
big.
basket, that's pretty much the root
But
system.
can it be in another location?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Property.
Anywhere on
Yes,
the property.
Anywhere.
Anywhere
We
on,
should get out
on
of the
that
business
association.
of having trees
By the walkway.
right along the walkways
Yes.
and roadways.
Yeah.
Lesser palms
Yeah.
that go down.
We have that in Greenbrier A right now where we took out 3 trees.
Yep.
And we can't put the trees back where they were. Where they
Donald-
were.
Donald can give you the story, Mr. Galley was near tears in his office
Yeah.
about that black olive tree.
Yes.
We're all about
Barbara?
the black olive.
I'm sure if you ask Ed to check, you know, he's a new treasurer, he can go back with a push of a button and tell you in the last 2 years how much we have spent on walkway and asphalt repairs. And I think you're gonna be shocked of the amount of money we spent.
Yeah, I
That
agree.
you could have been doing walkways and taking these trees out,
I won't be so
planting
shocked.
trees someplace
But
else.
we don't have the money to do it if we don't budget for it, it was not in the budget.
Yeah, well, where is this money coming from?
I think the trees would exceed the
313.
cost of the asphalt.
It would.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Trees
You
would.
spend more for the tree than you will for the asphalt.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That you're
Yes.
replacing.
And we don't have a budget for the trees, we have a budget for 313 for all of what he does for irrigation and the,
You're caught here between a tree and a hard place.
yeah.
So to
correct.
There's nothing you could do, because as long as you have the trees there, it's going to, you can trim the roots down and it will hold off over a
Yeah.
period of time, but then you're gonna have the same
Exactly.
problem again.
Yeah.
So the alternative is, one, either you patch it the way we're doing now and eat the cost because there's nothing you could do, or, and figure what that would be, or rip out the trees, move them, and figure out what the cost is, and I tell you that over a long period of time, it's gonna be equal.
Okay, but not all of these are trees.
Uh,
This is what I'm saying.
The
I've
ones
seen
on, the
patchworks.
ones on the walkways, I would say 90% of them are tree
Okay,
roots.
but what I'm saying is the ones that are very evident that we see here with trees,
Mm-hmm.
like this one on near Somerset A, there's a tree that could come out, and I'm not saying do all the trees, but big trees that come up that you know definitely, you're gonna do this here, you're gonna have a problem again. So this one might be worth taking the tree out and fixing it the right way, and you don't have to
If
address
you
it.
adopt that policy, you will be sitting across the table at arbitration with the county arborist,
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee it.
Well, we're gonna replace it someplace else.
Alright,
You
That's
can't put the
different.
same size tree in, so they're gonna ask you
It
to put
doesn't have
3
to
in.
go there.
No, but you have to put 3 in its place, that's what he just said. 3
You have to
trees are
put in
gonna
more than-
cost
more
you
than one.
practically,
Alright, but
Double
what
what you paid.
size?
Well, that's what they'll determine, they measure the circumference
you.
and do something
So,
with it, say
wouldn't
that's
it be
2 or
good to
3
just
trees that have to be.
investigate, having them come in and say, this tree, what do we have to do? We don't even know.
Now, we've actually gone this route,
yeah.
we've actually tried.
I've never seen nothing
I'm
on
gonna,
paper.
I'm gonna explain it to you.
Okay.
No, it's in code, if it's more than 48 inches around, you gotta put 3 in its place.
And there was instances where Mr. Galley said, no, there's other ways to mitigate this besides killing this poor tree. He's the speaker for the trees.
When we
Well,
talk
does
about,
he wanna pay for the
when
asphalt?
we talk about trees,
He
the
doesn't
other
care.
shoe has yet to fall.
He really doesn't care.
What did we lose during the hurricane?
Yep.
They have photographs from up in space, they're gonna say there's an elm, there's a pine, there's two
You're gonna get a letter.
palms, we're
I'm
gonna get a
expecting a
letter.
bill for 30 or 35 trees.
Yeah.
That's what I think I took out of here.
35 trees
I think
you
so,
took
yeah.
out?
So if it's
Well, you have
3
a
for
record.
1, you got 100 trees you gotta put back.
Not so much, it was a hurricane.
So it's damned if you do, damned if
As
you
I
don't.
recall, that entire walkway cost us about 80K,
The entire walkway, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
Which
stop.
walkway is it?
Subject to correction, I believe it cost
Okay, let's say
us
80,000,
$80,000.
even go 100,
Walkway
Sorry.
around.
Good, Barbara?
even 80 to 100, but I think it was 80 if I recall, you're right. What I'm saying to you is, if the whole walkway cost us 80, and if Ed can bring up just the last 2 years what we spent on paving, wouldn't it be smart to check that?
yeah, but we have to budget for it,
Right.
we haven't been doing that. So we're using the, what this committee bids on for any infrastructure work, including irrigation, it's all coming out of one budget now, I don't
Yeah,
have
I-
money to buy trees.
I'm not saying
We're
that.
gonna go through that
I'm
entire on.
not saying the trees, I'm saying what it cost us to run the first time around will be more now. So if it was 80, let's say 100, okay?
And if you're gonna remove trees, it's gonna be more than,
Well, you're not gonna remove that many trees, cause you removed a lot of trees already.
well, God removed a lot of the trees.
I know you
but-
have,
But,
yeah. All I'm saying is, I don't think anybody at this table knows the amount of money that we have spent in the last 2 years. Does
On
anybody
patching-
know here?
On
On patching,
patching
yeah.
asphalt.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking. Does anybody know?
I can,
No,
I
the
can come
only-
up with it in about an hour, sure.
Oh, an hour.
The
He
only-
probably come up in 5 minutes.
The only thing I can say is, I think you spent more on irrigation repair.
Oh,
Well,
without
I'm
a doubt,
not going to irrigation. That's a whole nother
Considerably
story.
more.
yes.
Much more. I've brought up the
And
figures.
when you talk about irrigation, when the new television, what's it called?
AB.
Is installed, when AB is complete, there are gonna be pipes that get smashed and
Oh, yeah.
crushed and
But they
with
fix
the
those.
weight of trucks and
But they'll
and
fix it.
the horizontal boring, so, you know.
Well, Charlie was here yesterday, he seems to think he hasn't done that yet.
Right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
I think they'll take some flexibility from.
Well, they nicked the
They've been
potable
pretty
water
good
line.
about
Well,
what they
the
said.
important thing is
They fix
if they use a different strata for the irrigation than they do for the television cable, then they're not gonna run into it, you know, whether they go below or above,
Right.
but if they're on the same plane, bing, bang, bong, there's your problem.
But you're assuming that these guys will damage some of the water pipes
Oh, yeah.
in course of what they're doing. But if that's the case, and if it's expected, we know it's gonna cost us, but we're talking about the roads here or the
Thank you,
walkways.
thank you.
Let's go back to what you just said.
If they damage it, they'll fix it.
Let's go back to what you just said. They did all of Dover, parts of Gulf's Edge. They not one time hit
I
any
know,
of
we
those pipes.
were over there,
yes, it did.
everything was done by hand.
Gulf's Edge?
Yes.
Yeah,
They
the
nicked,
first day we were out there, they hadn't done any. Now they've done.
second day they nicked
But they will.
they nicked an 8-inch potable water line, but the water company came and fixed it, that's the end of it.
But we're talking about the walkways and the trees. As far as I'm concerned, the walkways, through time and rain and whatever,
Right, yeah.
it's going to expand and contract and break, and this is what you got. Even if it's not from the trees, and so on. So if you want to, you just go around and wherever the crack is and survey how many trees are there and what it's gonna cost. Remember, not only are you taking the tree out, which is gonna cost a lot of money, but then you have to replace that tree with 2 others and you have to decide where you're going to put it. And if you decide, or the association, whoever land it is, whether it's ours or the
Well, it's all
association.
land, it's
Yeah,
all
we're
on
doing all
land,
on our
right?
land.
Yeah, but we don't have complete say over what we do on our own land, we're subject to regulation.
On our walkways, we don't have complete control?
When it comes to trees,
Trees.
Oh, no, that's the county, I understand that,
Right.
yeah.
So you have to figure out where you're going to landscape the trees. And if you put them in and they are trees that have expanding roots, you're gonna have the same problem later on. Takes a little longer, so what you're doing is putting off the cost of doing it
But you wouldn't
again.
put that kind of tree there by the walkway, you'd put it someplace else.
Right,
Stu.
but there's someplace else is who, where?
Where there's
On our
grass.
property,
actually,
someone
I have
else's
I have a
property?
piece of information on that. As far as Mr. Galley is concerned, meaning the county, he considers all of Century Village to be one property. So you have a small building, let's say you wanted to get rid of and this has happened in Stratford.
Yeah,
Let's say you wanna get rid of a tree, and he's gonna make you put 2 more, but you don't have the room for it. You could put it on Yuko property, and
with permission.
he would sign
He
off on it.
doesn't care.
Yeah,
signs
but the building can't put it, we would be concerned, we would have to, they'd have to get permission from us.
Well, yeah,
That's all
but
I'm
if you
saying.
if you were looking for a place to dump a tree in order to comply with the county, you could put it anywhere, you could put it on your neighbor's property, he don't care, he considers all
Well, he
the.
don't care, but I don't care, I understand that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is he doesn't care, as long as the trees are put back.
Yes.
What I'm saying to you, Stu, is any trees that you eventually, not now, take down, you will have to put someplace else. I understand all that. All I'm saying to you is, how much have we spent in the last 2 years? Let's get back to what I originally said, and how much? Nobody knows at this table what we spent.
Let's go back, it's priorities. we've been dealing with this for a couple of years.
That's what I'm saying.
And nobody's ever brought it up as a priority, that this is gonna happen continuously
Yeah.
all across.
Keep going, it's
Right,
gonna keep
so
happening, gonna keep investing,
he's right.
investing.
We have to put money aside for this contingency. I mean, priorities are really the most important thing. Walkways, people are walking,
Yes.
you've got all kinds of problems
That's
with that.
important.
Tennis courts, I know we're putting money away, but I'm not sure that's a priority for us. So you gotta look to where you're gonna put money
Yeah.
aside and charge people for what we're doing.
I agree, I think you should be reserving for this as a major project.
Right.
In the meantime, every other Sunday morning, I walk,
Yeah.
and I'm prioritizing the cracks that will break grandmother's back, the worst ones.
How long do we have? We've been putting money away for roads, right? Am I right, for the road? How many years do we have before the roads have to be done?
I have an engineer coming in, why didn't we have an
You
engineer?
had an
We
engineer.
did.
We've had an engineer
How many years has it been since we did the roads? Let's put it that way.
about 8.
About 8. So we started to reserve when? About 5 years ago?
Yeah,
Around that.
you know, there are certain areas that ought to be fixed. And that's because M&M did not do a good job.
I don't know, a lot of.
That is not the vast majority of this project.
No.
I mean, I can speak very clearly for the piece I drive on my way home. It's clean, it's smooth, and I guarantee you'll get 5 more years out of it.
At least.
This road is not falling apart,
No.
despite what you might hear from a few grouchy malcontents. Alright?
So this is what I'm talking
You'll
about,
get
the
at
money.
least 15 years out of this. Now, Howard put a number in, and if you really wanna do this right, and dig it down and recompact the base, so you don't have reflective cracks, is $15 million isn't far off.
I gave him that number.
And, okay,
Can you take it back?
I'd love to.
the point being, we're putting money away from that, but there is no rush. I happen to agree with Barbara on the issue of patching. You know, we have these little black patches, but keep in mind what it's gonna cost to redo the paving project.
Yeah.
And then the patching is not so big. I mean, this is the way you fix things. Thank God we don't have a freeze, thaw, and crack cycle
Oh,
now.
forget about it.
These
Oh,
cracks
God.
would be a horror story.
They'd be a foot
Right.
wide.
Part of this cracking is due to our excessive heat in the summertime.
Sure.
When it's 93 degrees out, those roads grow a foot, you know,
Yeah,
so.
but I'm not, let's get back to the walkways for a minute. They're very important, like Donald said, people walk on them every day, ride bikes on them. To me, that's a big priority because it's a liability, okay? And I think that if there's any money anywhere that you're saving, this is, like you say, a more of an emergency liability that should be taken out of one place and since you have years to go still, and taking care of your road, walkways. They're very important. But something to think about to this committee.
Of the growing of roots, there is no end.
Right.
No, but you have
I-
money that you don't need,
Yes, I
Put
agree.
away.
We're fine.
and that money could be
And listen,
used.
So the 15 million can shrink.
You redo,
Yeah.
you redo every bit of these walkways, you get rid of trees in strategic areas. 6 weeks after the job, I'll be patching,
Why?
cause there'll be another route from someplace else.
Do we have a place in Century Village that we could take, if you're gonna rip out a tree and have to put one big one and 2 small ones in there, we'll create our own forest. Put all the trees that we're taking out and put it in an area
In a whole
and
section
design it,
with the-
I'm
yeah.
serious.
No, this,
And it
I
may sound
agree.
facetious, but I'm really serious.
No, I agree.
And we'll create our own little magical forest in such a way as we can have a path made out of rocks rather than, or stones or whatever, so people can go and we'll put plants and flowers and that'll
little
take care of, and we have
Forest
satisfied the
garden.
tree growing and we can fix the cracks and it'll never come back again because there are no trees lifting it up. And we've satisfied the county with the trees put in.
Right.
and we could tell everybody we have a new forest where you could walk and fantasize as to where
Enchanted
you are.
forest.
Right, phantom, well, I don't know,
And
phantom
look,
forest,
less trees
but,
along the roadways
maybe
is
meet
good for
Alice
everyone because you have
and her
less of the
friends there, who
overhangs and
knows?
canopies,
That's right,
right?
which that canopy by, I'll talk to you later, the medical building, is that cut yet? No.
No, that'll be cut as part of the major tree trim after we
Oh,
sign it.
okay, I thought that was gonna be cut, you said a month ago.
I was hoping to get it done
I thought
by
you
Seacrest because they had a contractor on board. By the time we got to them, they were gone.
were. Okay.
So, and by the way, they're not our trees. So basically.
No, I know they're
but-
not, it's just that when people go there, they're
We wanna-
very low
we wanna
hanging,
cut
and I'm
along
pretty
the-
short and I can touch it.
The part that overhangs our walkway,
Yeah.
that's gonna be cut.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, some trees are small enough that they can be moved. And
Yeah.
and you'd save money on replacing it.
and then we have an
I did
option,
it in the military.
You
and
bore
then
them.
we have an option of picking other trees, perhaps
Spruce
colorful
and so
trees,
forth. They're movable.
that,
They are so generous growing outside.
or we can put them near the fences and have another barrier against the people who are jumping over. I don't
Build your
know,
forest,
trees with
man.
thorns on them.
Alright, anyway, back to this.
Yeah.
But can you get us a figure of what we spent in the last 2 years for the next meeting so we know?
I'll get it for you today.
Okay. Well, I meant for everybody, not just me.
Have to be careful to segregate the road.
It's actually easier than you think because we've only used one contractor
I know,
the whole
that's what I'm
time. So all I have to do is add up the federal. He's going to do it now.
I know we've used them for a
Oh,
while.
you're gonna have
We've
to
used them for
segregate, you're gonna
about
have
2
to
years at
segregate
least.
there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, once we get all the federals in, you have to
You have to
segregate,
segregate it.
of course. Like we were talking about irrigation just now. Yes, we've spent a potload of money on irrigation, but some of that money was investment in our pumps, right, in our infrastructure. And we've been spending very little money on fixing those pumps lately because they're all new and they're all rebuilt. So segregating that out mitigates how much we're really spending. But I have to say, I think we're spending more now on the pipe network and the leaks than we were when I first
Well,
started.
that's getting old, yeah.
No, I think part of it is the hurricanes. A lot of the damage that I'm seeing, these pipe repairs, are from, again, tree roots. I think these trees sway somewhat and their root systems kind of shake,
Sure.
and suddenly I'm getting a lot of pipe repairs. So,
That would cause a problem, yeah, right.
yeah,
Where you put the fences with the green, it looks nice, you put
Yeah.
flowers over by the bridge over there on that
but
one.
but what's important is what's inside that cage. There's
Yeah,
a
no,
lot of
but
new
what I'm
equipment.
saying is, yeah, that's why it was good you did that. What I'm saying is, have you found any problems with that, with anybody trying to break in?
No,
Okay, so we have secured our pumps,
pretty good.
that's.
I got
good.
one more to do in
And then they'll be all
Somerset,
secured,
and it will be all secure.
wonderful,
Um,
okay.
And my two biggest miscreants, where it got so bad, I actually had to put a roof on the cage, like a monkey cage.
I know what you mean,
They're no longer on the earth, so
Yeah, I
my
know what
life,
you're
my
talking
life
about.
became much easier,
that's good, I know exactly what you mean,
yeah. So,
alright.
anyway, can someone please make a motion on my recommendation that we give Southern Paving a shot on this work?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
There you go.
They're gonna do, I'm sorry,
That's okay, go ahead.
they're gonna do 7 jobs for $6,700, 7 paving,
60,
and then will you come
was
back
it
to us
67 or
and get-
69? I thought it was 69.
67, and then will you come
Okay.
back to us with a report on how
Yeah.
they did,
Well,
and the
that's-
areas they did?
This is a tryout.
But I think what David said is good, if you have a thing, David, showing where every paving job has been done, and has any been done twice because of weather or whatever, reflecting,
You mean places where I've done repairs?
yes,
And re-repaired.
There
And
have,
re-repair.
there have been a couple, but I had the contractor do it at no cost, cause I said, your work's
okay,
not
that's great, but I mean, we should have a record of all that, you know what I mean? Like you said, a sheet showing all that,
Yeah, you want to be able to do an analysis
on like an Excel or
where
something,
where one day you say, alright, here's 2 curves. You know, what it's gonna cost us to do the whole job and what it's costing us in patching.
right,
And there's gonna be some critical decision point where you're gonna say, oh, we're going too far.
so,
We put too much money into patches.
Sure,
I figure this job will last us 15 years that we have here
the roadways are fine.
without major repairs.
Yeah, the road,
The roadways are fine, and you have money set
And
aside.
just one more comment on the periodic patching that we're doing on the walkways. Part of this is, we can't do all the cracks all at once.
No.
There's not enough money in the world, and it does make sense, like you said. But what I try to do is get the contractor here
Has it.
every 4 to 6 weeks so that we show that we have a record of constant maintenance, that it's a program. That's what Fausto used to call it, the
Yes.
program.
It's a Tony thing.
It's a Tony thing.
Yeah,
And,
that's what it is.
cause they're gonna be trip and
Well,
falls.
it's a good thing, I'm not.
Yeah, well, we don't want liability,
There's
that's
gonna be
right.
trip and falls, we can't stop that, it's an old property, and some of these cracks erupt overnight. But at least we're showing due diligence that we, on
Yeah.
a regular basis, as a matter of fact, I think I wanna step it up now, I wanna get them here once a month. And just have that in the loop.
But I would like to know what they're doing, like this here is for 7 jobs. Now, those 7 jobs will take how long roughly to do, you think?
Day and a half,
Okay, so next month, if you're gonna do some more.
Right.
At a large amount, just bring it to us so we can look at it
absolutely,
and keep a record.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, David, we have to do an analysis of what this has cost us so far and what the other way will cost us. Otherwise, you can't make good decisions.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Can I?
the motion is to select Atlantic Southern paving
Right.
on walkways throughout the village on our property.
Right,
And who made the motion?
I did,
Okay, so John Gregg and Barbara seconded, right?
right.
I can finish it.
Eventually,
Dave Israel,
Yes,
Ed Black,
He's out,
okay,
he'll be back.
Stuart Richland?
Yeah.
David Boas,
yes,
Trevor Finkelstein,
Yes.
Don Bonaji, yes. Barbara Cornish,
Yes,
Diane Burrows,
yes.
John Gregg,
yes.
Donald Foster, no voting, so it's
okay.
unanimous.
And we're gonna give this guy a shot,
Oh, it's
and we'll
anonymous.
watch it closely,
Yeah, it's a good
see how it
idea.
goes. My next question is, before we
Can I
proceed,
make a comment on this, please? If, I looked at this thing and Atlantic Southern has it spelled out pretty well
Yeah.
what they're gonna do
Yeah.
here.
In their contract, yes, I was reading it, just read it
Very
now.
impressive. And something to think about in the long term, and I know it's gonna cost more money because there's not as many places that do this, but if you're really thinking about doing the walkways, you might wanna consider, and you're gonna get pushback from the asphalt companies, but go with a company that's using recycled rubber. They will last a lot longer.
Mhm.
I shouldn't say that because I'm not familiar with Florida weather. I'm just familiar with more northern weather. It may not even be suitable down here.
Yeah,
I can't tell you
maybe
that.
slippery and rain.
Yeah,
And-
Yeah.
yeah.
But
I've
those
actually,
places that do
I've
use
actually seen that.
recycled rubber actually last much longer.
I've seen that in Burlington, Vermont, in the parks, and the reason they use that, A is to get rid of the rubber, it's shredded up tires.
Tires,
And
yeah.
B, that the thinking is that the expansion and contraction will be less because you have an
Right,
elastomer
right.
built
There's-
into the,
There's much more elasticity in the rubber.
Yeah.
Maybe we gotta do some research on that, that's a good idea.
take a peek.
Yeah,
hurt.
well,
Here's my next question, typically I don't bring walkway repairs to the officers for approval, but being as I bid this out, you guys want me to take this straight to the president, or you want me to bring it next week to the officers? Seems redundant to me.
I seem to recall in the last year, there was quite a bit of excitement on this committee about bringing these small jobs here. I remember it very clearly. Maybe Jack brought it up, but someone said, what is this, $500, $600, $800, why is it even here?
This is
Now, it just turns out
6,700.
you've aggregated a bunch of them. So this is high on the spectrum analysis screen, so here it is, but if these jobs were done as operational maintenance day to day, one at a time, you would hardly notice it except if you take the time to look at the bills.
Right.
Then you might swing back the other way,
Sure.
right? But I do remember significant discussion, and I thought a motion was made if a job was under 2,500, it wouldn't come here, this
Right.
kind of job. And so I just wanna remind that, cause I think most of you were here, some maybe not, but
I brought this work to you today basically because I'm recommending a new vendor, so I wanted you guys to take a close look at it.
Barbara and
What I
then
wanna
Merrill.
say is, if you recall, when we did the bid committee and we talked about that, and this was for WPRF or UCO, not to do small jobs so they wouldn't come here, like when it comes up to this. Now, you said this kind of job, I just asked you, would take about a day and a half, right?
All the jobs in, yeah,
All the jobs
2
right
days
there.
tops.
Okay, so let's say he does in a day and a half. Well, he's gonna bring us, they're gonna be in here for a day and a half doing 750, 750, 750, but the actual cost is 6,700. So it should come in, you're doing the right thing,
They're not gonna send you a separate invoice for $750.
No, they're not, but we do
No.
get them, I'm sorry, I look at them. I can show you invoices for, look at this, right in front of you with federal maintenance. This is the kind of billing you get, 750,
Well,
750.
that's actually on my request. I asked them to put separate
But
billing.
now you're doing it right.
No, I was doing it right then too, and I'll explain.
You
Go ahead.
you should send David the icon and show him how to look at those bills.
Oh, I will, that's a good idea, yeah.
Yeah,
Or,
please.
you know,
Save me a
I
job.
actually, that's actually my request, because when they price out these jobs, they price them out as if they were doing all the jobs at once. But I asked them to itemize them, because sometimes there's so many that I cut them in half, and I'll say, let's do this month, and we'll do.
Which is fine, but what
Yeah.
I'm saying, the main thing we had said when we developed this committee is that people don't chop things, and for your purpose, you're doing it the right way. But in essence, when you do another 7 jobs or whatever, if it comes to 2,500, which it will, and they're gonna do it, cause the more jobs they can do in one day, the better for their equipment movement.
Well, they won't even come. for
I
these
know
other
that, I
jobs.
know
So-
that.
So part of it is from
therefore,
them.
it should all really come to us, even if it's itemized like
Right.
you want, all those, say, 10 bills for 750 is $7,500.
Right. I don't send the
We're
RFP,
not holding this up, we agree with him.
I don't
This is-
send the RFP out unless it's at least a day's worth of work.
Of course not, cause they're not gonna come.
They're not gonna come.
Of course.
It's not even a matter of getting a better
I
price.
agree with you, Donald, but this is a good way to do it.
It's like buying, excuse me, buying in bulk.
Yes,
If he would shop each job one at a time, it would be much more expensive. So
absolutely.
now you have, and they know they're having a contract for X amount of work, which they could plan for, and we get a discount. And if anybody complains, we're saving money by having this program with 6 or 7 jobs,
Yeah.
one at a time as it's being done.
But nobody's
But
complaining, what
nobody-
I'm trying to tell you
Well,
is that.
there's a suggestion that people out there would
Go
complain
ahead.
because we're doing it. But you have an insurance issue too,
Right,
and you have to respond to it.
and that's,
Yeah, but I
that,
agree with it.
and that's where regular inspections and a regular program of maintenance comes in,
Right,
right? We're getting a better price by giving them a big hunk of work all at once.
Yeah.
And also, we're showing that we're on top of it.
but it
But
never
we're-
came to us before like this, and this is the
This-
right way to do it.
Get here, you know, right?
This is the right way, because the whole idea of 2,500
Right.
is to give you some little wiggle room.
Right.
But if you have 7 jobs and it goes beyond that, then it should come to us, because we can see it, we'll probably approve it. and
You always do.
Right, and there's no problem.
Right.
The fact is that when you don't bring it here, and then we come up and they say, well, you spent $5,000, but it was spaced out.
Right.
That's where we get, because we always used to say 2,500 for things that are budgeted. And if there was no budget and it was coming up, it's 0, and we should know about it. We should know
And look,
about it, that's
There,
about
there are
it.
always gonna be jobs that need to be done now. That's it. They gotta be done. They can't wait till the regular cycle.
An
Emergency.
emergency.
No, an emergency, yeah.
And look, I could pretty much couch anything in the language of emergency, especially when it comes to trip and falls, but that's like a judgment thing,
Yeah,
right?
but we're
That's
dealing
really a
with the
maintenance
economy of
thing.
scale, the more we do for one contract, the
Yeah.
cheaper the price
Right.
with.
And that
And
makes
nobody
sense.
objected to that, we just wanna know.
And-
It's still a lot cheaper than having some little old lady from Oshkosh come in there from a litigious family. And
No, we don't.
bingo, where
No,
I
the-
fell down and look at me
Now, the
and
way I'm reducing how
it's
much,
gonna cost us 10 times as much.
how many times I have an emergency
I
job
can't
is,
see.
I already have another set of paving jobs ready to
I'm
go.
sure you do.
So when there is an emergency, something
Oh, yeah.
erupts, I just tack that into,
The next
jobs
job.
I've got
Yeah,
hanging,
right.
and then I got another batch.
Yeah,
ready
I
to go.
understand that.
Nobody
It's-
says no.
This is pretty much Fausto set this up. This is a
Yeah,
team.
but I just think it's nice that you brought this to us.
Keep bringing it, yeah.
Besides a different company that you're spending that kind of money, so we have an idea.
But don't worry, I'm gonna bring this to you next month for the next batch of jobs. I'll report how these guys did.
That would be great.
And after 3 or 4 of them, you're gonna say, Donald, why do you keep bringing this to me?
Yeah, but that's different, right?
And we'll move on. Alright, so that's done. The next thing is we're gonna talk about, I'm gonna let this finish and then we'll go.
Excuse us, John.
No, let them finish. They're having a little meeting. Alright,
Sorry.
next thing we need to talk about is Century Boulevard, the fence and the walkway. I'm pretty much gonna step out of this and let you guys hack it out. We're in early days now. The only comment that I'll make now is, I think you guys need to think about what's your budget? And I think Ed's gonna tell you what your budget is today, and what you need to get done for whatever money, whatever amount he tells you have, just like anything else, right? We have a budget, we have to work with it. The second thing I'm gonna ask you to do is start talking about hiring an engineer to plan out this job. This is far beyond my capabilities to plan out a job of this scale. There's planning, there's drainage, elevations, you got a fence, you have a walkway. This is a very involved job, and I think planning, we're in the planning stages now. So I'm gonna let you guys, go back and forth and see where it goes.
I think first thing we have to do is address the fence and the location of the fence.
Right.
And then what goes on inside of that is our responsibility. So,
And we all know that moving that fence onto our property is automatically gonna entail moving the walkway
walkway.
over towards the road,
Yeah.
making it wider and getting it closer to the road. And this is gonna be, one is not happening without the other. You're not gonna get that fence in
The
until you get
important
that
thing, I
walkway.
think, is to try to get the walkway from 5 feet, which is code, within the light poles and the trees. We don't
Yes.
wanna have to move a tree a foot because it's on the path. And, yeah, I think we've probably got 7 or 8 feet there that we can play with.
Yeah.
So, yes, David.
And have you given any serious consideration to putting the walkway on the other side of the road?
I think the difficulty there is those who are going to Temple are gonna wanna be on this side of the street, on the walkway, you're gonna have to change the lights for people crossing on the other side.
I guess my only thought on
There's
this
a traffic
project,
light there, yeah.
Thank you.
There's a walkway there.
and I think you're gonna find out when we do an engineering study. This is gonna turn into $100,000 project.
Easy,
Easily, yeah.
more than that.
more.
And I don't believe we have a budget. And I don't wanna take our doorway fee and our infrastructure reserve,
And
because
use it
this
for
is
that.
a very slippery slope. If you want something, pay for it, budget it. You wanna do it next year, this can be put into the budget.
The other thing you wanna consider is, do you want concrete or do you want asphalt? There's a big difference in cost.
I think asphalt would be
Asphalt's the way to
fine.
go,
Me too, it works for
because
the rest of
there's
the,
give and take.
besides the patching.
Yeah. Ed?
I don't see you being able to put a walkway on the right-hand side as you come in Haverhill.
It'd be too close to traffic, incoming
It isn't
traffic.
even the traffic, when you get to the point where the arms are, the mechanisms that allow people in,
They're in the way.
you'd have to move the fence into the roadway
it's way
to
skinny over
make
there.
room to get around it, so it would be like this.
So it
The
should
cost
stay,
would be,
it should stay on the.
that's the only place we can do it, and I think
Side that it's
we put $100,000 in the budget for
You have it.
Haverhill fence.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's this one or if it's this one, this is the one that's pressing. We've gotta get an engineer to come up with a plan
Yeah.
and look at where that leads us.
Barbara?
Well, that's what I was gonna say, you have $100,000 for that fence, which we can use, because this is priority. And start with getting, you have money there now, right, Ed?
Yeah, 3 months worth of contribution.
3 months, but what I'm saying, that's enough maybe to get an engineer study done.
It is.
I mean, we have to start with an engineer
Yep.
study,
Well, we
We're
can
figuring it out.
deficit spend if we have to,
yeah.
while the money's coming in.
You know what
because
I
we
mean,
don't
yeah.
About
worry
what,
about
3,600 feet?
No, less than that, it's
Thirty-two
less than that.
hundred and 68 or
How
something.
much?
I thought maybe 26. but-
No,
I think it's
no,
3,200 and change.
no, I don't think so.
Now, which fence?
The fence
existing
on
one.
Wallman's side, all the
Wallman's
way
fence.
down to the corner.
Yeah,
Till we come all the way up
We're
to,
talking Havre.
No, it's not
I think
even in it, I thought 16 was the last,
really?
well, think about it, it's about a third of the width of the square.
1,300 feet.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Well, we have to find out the.
It's easy to measure, but folks,
This
please,
is a mile, right?
Yeah.
Right, and we're only talking about from here to here.
From Gulf Edge to the street.
Okay,
This is a mile,
yeah, so it's
this is
less,
a mile.
alright,
so it's less than a quarter of a mile.
So what would be a quarter of a mile roughly?
pull up,
52 times,
Yeah,
divided by
5,000.
3.
just pull up Google Earth on your tchotchke and run the,
26, 1,300 square feet, 1,300 lineal feet.
Let me do it on-
Okay, so we go 1,400 then.
So what are you gonna pay for a 6-foot fence? $10 a foot, $5 a foot, I don't know. David?
A lot
I
more
would
than that.
I would like everybody to think
Something nice.
something nicer than that, that's an important entrance.
Mhm.
I've always said it, I'll stick to it, I think chain link screams ghetto or schoolyard or prison. I think we should look at a wall. I don't think we should be in such a big hurry. And
I
just,
agree.
and put a nice solid masonry wall, nice looking. And screw Waldman and his vendetta against us, let him do with his, he's threatening now to take it down,
Mhm.
right?
that's part of the problem.
The county told us that he could.
Yes,
So,
they did,
Yeah,
that's right.
I think we just get on our side, I know you're gonna have some problems at the guard shack, at the gate and all that, but
No, that was my
No,
point, if
the
he
other-
decides to take that fence down, you got a horrific amount of space, you've gotta re-fence well before we have another
but
road,
we can come in a foot,
Yeah.
gotta come up with the money.
pick a number. And think about putting something nice there, that's all,
I agree with that.
instead of another one of these,
Well, maybe Donald could check into different
course
types,
we
I think they did look into different
have
type of fences on Haverhill, am I correct, or someplace there? So they have an idea
Stuart,
already of different
We
fences.
were over to the fence place.
Right?
how about a 6-foot
Yeah,
vinyl
of the fences that they showed us, and I'm not even talking about chain link
Right.
because I
Nice
agree,
fences.
it's ugly and we shouldn't have it. The more expensive fences were the aluminum iodized bars. You would have two
Like what-
concrete
what's up at
pillars.
the,
Yeah, like they had across the
At
street.
the clubhouse?
Yeah, something similar to that.
Okay, that's what I'm.
And the
thinking.
difference would be the shape of the fence. If you want a solid bar on top and a solid bar on bottom, and below that you have about an 8-inch piece hanging down. That's one style. Another is that it's shaped like a curve or it's like this. And the more expensive ones have the top pieces
Points,
pointed
that's the one.
because
That's what
before
you
they
want.
put it in, they squeeze the metal in and stick it down.
They call them pale.
Something like, I remember you mentioned it.
Points with
And
flash
they,
on.
and they also said that if somebody kicks it, it breaks, but you can snap a new one in. So it looks more formidable than it really is, but it's nice looking, and that's one way to go. And you also said concrete, you can get formed concrete, just
Like
the way
they
they
use
have on
on
the
the-
highways, they lift it up and slide it into the two holders, the U-shaped things. And there it is, and we could paint it any color we want. And that, you don't get, when you walk, you don't see the other side, whatever
Right.
they do at the golf course,
The
you
other
won't see
side
it
is
at all.
gonna be somebody's backyard,
And
And you know, but
so
not
that's
now.
something that you have to decide.
somebody's
1,600
backyard.
square feet.
Don't they say you have to put the
linear feet.
better side to your neighbor?
Yes,
They're talking about.
I hate to tell you, that's code. If you're putting up a fence, like even a chain link, the poles have to be on your side, not their side. That's the way the code reads, so you gotta be careful with the concrete, that's all I'm telling you.
Well,
But did you get any prices, did we get any prices?
Nothing concrete, what we were told that was perhaps the most expensive way to go.
Sure.
But that was the nicest way, of all the designs, if you're gonna have it in metal, that is the nicest way to go. And it allows you to see from your side to the other side.
Right, that's like.
If you want to restrict that, and you don't see to the other side, then you put up a wall like they have on the highway. And that's it, and we see what we wanna see, paint it any which way you want, but you can't see the golf course. That, you know, we never know what if someday he may do something that really is interesting,
Right.
at least for us to look at, and then we can't see
You're
that.
right, like or something.
Well, whatever it is, or who knows? I mean, I don't wanna joke around with it, but
listen,
those are your choices,
I don't wanna look at that golf course anymore, I'm sick to death of it, right? So I think we should screen it off, but there's lots of ways to do that. One is we could use landscaping, put in a hedge it off.
I don't think, you're looking at
Then
maintenance
you're
and every other
making him
problem,
responsible
walkway
for his side.
problem,
Yeah.
with
He's
roots
not
and
gonna
all,
go for
let's
that.
keep away from
you're
plants.
gonna have the fence and the hedge, and then you'll have less walkway, and you
According
won't be
to-
able to get 2 lanes of cars.
That's
According to
right,
his new thing, is that he wants that area to be a burn. And
No, that was it
Open.
from the beginning, yeah.
yeah, and open. Now, because of what he's doing, we just gonna, I'd like to just hide the damn thing.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, but you
Yes.
gotta think of the costs of it.
I agree with David on this, you know, that's, we only have 2 entrances and they should look good. They
Nice.
shouldn't look like as ghetto wire fencing, you know? Let's do something nice, put the concrete there and you
Well,
don't
they
gotta
gotta
look
go
at this.
research it.
Yes, you
And
gotta
you
look.
gotta research that if one
That's right.
side, like, I'm just giving an idea, you could have concrete like they have along the highway, they have palm trees even designed in there.
Fit right in.
But check the other side, because as Dom will tell you, and Donald, the code, if you're gonna do it, you can't have an
It's
ugly
setbacks.
side to your neighbor.
Oh, yeah. Ed, is it safe to say that 100K is what we got to do this project?
That's
Well,
not
they
enough.
give me an audit and I'll get you an actual figure.
But-
I can go in there
Are we-
now and ask, but that's
Are
really
we,
not-
are we in the right ballpark? I remember 100K
that's what
in
we
the
want.
budget for fences.
I think that's
I
what we
thought you
started.
put 75K into the Haverhill budget
I
line.
thought it was 100.
No, we just called it fences, we didn't,
Yeah,
in
it was for
general.
Haverhill.
Okay. I
It was
thought-
set up for Haverhill.
It was
So it
100,000.
It's like we're reliving history.
yeah,
Yeah.
really.
When I first got here, we had a budget line there and we
Yeah.
kept chopping it, now we're gonna build it up.
Alright, so if we can all agree that 100K is what we got for this project, you only got a wall, you don't even have enough to put the wall up.
That's
That's right.
Why don't we get some numbers? Powdered aluminum, various types of masonry, let's get some
And the
numbers.
kind that Eva has up by the clubhouse, just to get figures on
But
it.
let's get it based on what code will provide you.
Yeah, that's-
authority to
Oh,
do.
of course, that's,
Cause if they don't want a solid wall there, you're gonna have a problem getting it done.
Which brings me to the next thing, before we even do all this, if you're gonna hire an engineer, let him do this legwork.
David,
I'm more in favor of the solid wall,
So am I.
yeah,
but
Everybody is.
we also have to realize that the solid wall is gonna be wider, so you're
Yeah.
gonna be using more space for your pavement as well, so
but you'll have
it may
room.
not be a possibility.
no, I think there's.
You have room, you have
I
enough
think there's
room.
enough room for
Yeah.
both, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
All
take
depends
a
on-
look at the, you'll see. and
Some
you'll
of the
judge.
parts I agree with you, but there's some parts I think are
Well,
pretty
they-
narrow.
Going
You may
around a
not be
tree or
able to
two
do that.
is
Yeah,
gonna
that's
be a
the
little-
big thing,
Yeah, but I
yeah.
think there's still,
But the
Alright.
engineer is not
And
gonna
I-
check about, they'll check with code for you,
They do
but
everything,
as far as the fences, you have to go out and get a company like you did, like Stu said. And you have to get prices on this, so we know.
Well,
David,
I have seen this area. I find it hard to believe that this property is surveyed with that length in it.
I agree with you.
yeah.
so do I.
I think you're
That's
right.
his tree, it's intruding on our side
Take it out.
and it ought to be chopped.
Yeah.
That fence
You have the
was
right to do
designed to
that.
be straight.
Straight.
He did it to us, when he put that little fence up all around Century Village, he cut a tree in half.
Yes.
If it's on our property, we can cut it. And if it's overhang, we can cut it. But if the
And
roots,
that's the precedent.
that's where are the roots? Our property or his?
Roots
on
go,
both
roots
sides.
go where roots go.
No, I mean the base of the
The
tree.
trunk of the
I-
tree is
Both,
is
probably.
protruding on our
Now
side.
look at the
Yeah, I think so.
Then you
survey
can get rid of
again, but I believe
It's a straight
all
line.
of that is his stuff, but it's intruding on our property.
Yes, and it's dead on the line, which makes it, that's what makes
Take
it.
it out.
And,
Take it
and
out.
he's gonna fight you on that because he don't wanna,
No, he's not gonna fight you because if it's out, What are they gonna say, put up another tree,
No,
fine, we'll pay for you to have another
Look,
tree on your
all these
side.
questions that we're bringing up is the engineer's job
Get a survey.
to work through.
That's the engineer, the only thing is
And
the
give
engineer.
it, give us options on what our materials are, what, you know, do you want a wall, can you have a wall?
But if you have to tell him what we're thinking in priority, like.
Well,
if
he's
we
gonna
want-
sit you guys down and say, what do you guys want?
Oh.
And work that against what's possible.
Isn't the decorative on the roadway, palm trees, whatever else they do?
Yeah,
Isn't it on both sides?
I don't know, I never went behind the
Yes.
wall.
I know, it
Yes,
is on
yes.
both sides, cause
You
that's the
sure?
decorative side
Then
to
that
the
would be
When
houses.
they pour it, they press it into a
Nice.
form.
That's the houses.
That
that
would
are
be
there.
nice if that's the case.
Yeah,
That's lovely, and I've seen them. They pick it up with these here trucks, the
they
big
just
sections.
lay it in.
They have like things, pilings,
Yeah.
and they just drop it in like
Slide it
little
right in.
slides.
They
yeah.
slide it right in.
Between two.
Amazing.
Alright, does anyone have any
You could
thoughts
have
on,
your own designs, they could do it for you.
does
Pick out
anyone have any
designs,
thoughts on who they like for an engineer?
trees
Who
and,
do you wanna hire?
Oh, an engineer.
Wheelchairs.
Did you talk to Dan maybe?
I did,
Did he give you someone?
he did,
Okay, who'd he give you?
Derek from DKK Engineering.
Okay.
Derek is working the 5400 Fairway project, which we're pretty happy with his work. And he's also working on the preliminary planning for North Canal. So he's already
Where? I'm sorry, the
North,
second.
North Canal.
We dealt with a few people.
Yeah.
Schiller could do this,
Schiller.
Hand Center
Yeah.
could do this,
Schiller was
DKK
good,
is
right?
fine.
Can we do a motion?
Wait a minute, he wants to say something.
Just a,
Do they change, I hate to ask this stupid
If you look
question.
at that new project that's over on Okeechobee, that old building project, if you go down the street where we went to, where the company was, you will see where they produced the fences, where they sold the fences. If you're driving there, it's on the right side
Where
going
is this
on Okeechobee, where that new project building is,
project?
the housing project.
The new housing project next to past Publix.
Right.
Oh, going the
Past
other.
Now,
Publix on
called-
the-
it's
If
called-
you go
Go
down that
west.
road, not on Okeechobee,
west.
but make a left turn, if you look at the
I know the
wall,
place.
they have a section of the wall that is concrete,
Yes.
then an opening with bars, and then another section, so you can have the best of both worlds if you wanna do it, and drive past there just out of curiosity to see what it looks like,
Yeah.
and perhaps we can have a combination of both rather than one solid wall. Some people would say they feel closed in, the other they would like
Well,
open
that's what I'm
space.
saying, you
They're
get,
black.
if you get prices
Ed
on
has his
this,
hands up,
I'm sorry,
that's okay.
Just to update the budget we have in hand. There's $100,000 to do the Haverhill fence, which is along Haverhill. Another 25 to do a second fence. So we combined it, we have 125.
Now you're getting
getting there.
Yeah,
But if you get prices on those fences for that amount of
Yeah, well,
footage, you'll have
Donald
a
and I will
better
drive
idea.
over there and talk to them.
Alright,
right there.
we just discussed DKK Engineering.
And Shalair,
I'm fine with Derek, I think
David
he's a
Boaz
smart guy,
and David Israel.
and David seemed to like him. Can we just make a motion, to bring this guy in?
well, let's hear what they
Well,
have to
It
say.
starts with a consultation, right?
see what David,
Sorry, David, go ahead.
Good, David.
Why are we not asking Mr. Josephs, who volunteered, he was at the last meeting, he's an engineer. Why are we not asking him to come and,
What are you talking about?
the
The
gentleman
man that
was
was
here?
gentleman
sitting
that
over
was
here
here.
that day,
Oh, Handelsman,
No,
no,
Harold
no,
Josephs.
Joseph,
oh.
the fellow that was sitting over
I
here.
gotcha.
Yeah, he's an engineer, he lives here in Century Village.
Yeah,
Is he licensed in this?
I don't know,
We
but
need
it's,
to
a-
find
And will he
that out.
take on the job?
who knows, but why should we not ask him first?
Consider whether he's able.
Yeah. Exactly.
he even sat down
Yeah, in
after,
fact, you even asked him
They
to
talked.
think about joining the committee, David.
yeah,
Alright. This
You
begins
know
with,
him.
yeah, this begins with a consultation, right? We're not signing
Yeah.
nothing. Can we all agree to bring Derek in and let him tell us what we want? Right, let us tell him what we want and let him,
Alright,
We have to
we're
decide.
getting an interesting
and
counter suggestion.
let's do it.
I'm just concerned whether his work is gonna pass muster when we go to permits.
Yeah.
That's, I think Dominic could probably scale this project as well.
Sure.
I just don't wanna do all this work, and then we go to permits and they say, where's your architectural drawing? Where's your engineer's drawing? And then they give us this nonsense about is he licensed to practice in the
Right,
state of
yeah.
Florida?
Right.
If he's not, we're dead in the water.
But this guy does belong on the committee,
Certainly.
under any condition.
Yeah. And
Because he can comment critically
Yeah.
on professional work that we get done.
And I'd like to also
An engineer
request-
overseeing the engineer.
and 1 month is not gonna make that much of a difference if
No.
we have him to commit.
I'd also like to request anyone you bring in here to do this, take a look at page 15 of our audit. It shows that we have a number of buildings that need to be evaluated as to what the life expectancy of the roofs are, how much we should be putting away in engineering.
That would be smart.
Yuko buildings.
Oh, you go.
The 5 buildings, we now own 5 buildings.
Fine,
We own 5 buildings.
the 2
Including
guard
the
sheds.
Guard
Yuko.
Shacks, Yuko, Fairway, Plymouth Laundry. We own 5
Oh,
buildings.
Plymouth Laundry, I forgot, yeah.
Now, I don't know
You
if
could
this
certainly
gentleman,
do that as well.
I don't know if, I'm sorry, I don't know if this gentleman's here full-time, I don't think he is. But, you know, at least he seemed to be very involved and a lot more knowledgeable than,
This is marvelous,
Yeah.
but I believe
Yeah.
Tony has a set of appraisals that were done.
Yeah.
I had the
What'd
Okay,
you
But
have
here,
done?
but here again, it's not an engineering study, it's an insurance replacement charge.
Right.
That's a very different put away.
All right,
I
let me-
wanna have an
let-
engineer look at it.
Let me suggest this. Let's bring Derek in for a group consultation.
It doesn't cost nothing, does it?
Don't cost nothing.
Okay, let's do it.
We'll bring him in for a group consultation. We will invite Mr. Josephs to attend and ask critical questions. And let's go from there. Does this need a motion or
I'll make a motion, I don't think it has to be.
Just a hand.
Seems like everybody
we're not
agrees.
spending any money.
No, let's do
This is
it.
a learning experience for all of us.
Yeah, exactly right.
Absolutely.
Can't make a decision until we know all the facts.
And depending on Derek's schedule, I may ask you guys to meet before the next regular meeting.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Let's get it kicked off,
Just
you
not a
know?
Tuesday,
All you have to do is
please.
bring the coffee.
I got Tuesday in branded in my brain.
Okay.
David Boaz?
this is down the road, I'm sure. But when we get to this phase of paying for the project, since our partners also have a valued interest in our entrance, WPRF, why can't we ask them for a little bit of help on this project?
Money help?
it certainly
Exactly.
never hurts.
Can't hurt to ask.
No, Eva has endlessly harangued me, she wants to
The
paint those
entrances.
brick walls chemo puke green to match the clubhouse. No, she is interested. They're very interested up there what this approach to the clubhouse looks like.
Sure.
And operations could recommend. and
Yeah.
adopt it.
You know, that's the call to Dan. I think
Put an arrow
whether
on
you're
it.
gonna get some money out of them, I don't know.
That'll help a little
Well,
bit.
can't, all
But
right,
it never hurts to
They
ask.
can always, they can
We
always
also
say
can
yes.
cut their budget.
Ed just came up with 125K out of the Yuko budget. Could operations match that out of operations budget?
If we cut their budget, we
No, no,
could.
If you're
Well-
taking away something she's been approved to do, yeah,
Well, yeah.
she's
So-
got it
I don't
all
think
How
lined
much
that's
up.
what-
how much voice do you wanna give them
Right.
in what it looks like?
That's it.
Well, what could they do that we wouldn't, what could they want that we wouldn't like?
Green pillars.
Green pillars.
No,
They could
no,
paint
no.
those brick walls
No,
green.
no, we're not talking about the brick walls.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Right.
And she'll want this new
Don't
wall
stop.
to be green.
Go ahead, David, please.
I'm not really talking about WPRF. I'm saying, here's the hat. How about putting a check in there?
Yeah.
See if they would make a donation.
They're gonna wanna see.
Who knows?
We could give them- we could
I mean,
give them some
they have a
architectural
little bit of
control.
interest here too.
Yeah, well, they'll give it to you with one hand and take it back at operations.
Yes.
Yeah, but on the other side of the coin, we're funding a reserve that never
Exactly.
had before.
That's right.
And
There's
listen,
nothing stopping us from saying use $100,000.
I'm now picturing,
Remember, we're paying that
Establish
money.
it, it's our
It's
money.
all more money.
I'm now picturing a double row of Italian cypress from Haverhill Road to the.
But no, I
To
I
the
just
royal
wanna
entrance.
explain that money, what you're talking about might be a little different, David.
Mhm.
Their budget is out of this pocket,
Yeah.
our budget is out of this, we're
Oh, yeah,
all
we
paying
know
for
this.
this.
I'm not talking about any of those.
I don't think he's talking about
He's
that,
asking
am I right?
for, he's
Donation.
asking
He's
for,
asking for a donation
Correct.
from Levy or
Levy.
WPR,
there
not
is-
WPRF, Levy.
And
he's
there is-
asking for a donation.
There
It's
is-
not unheard of.
You're right,
Yeah.
there's precedent for
They
this.
built a big long fence for us over by Haverhill. And he paid for it out of his own pocket.
We only want a donation, they don't have say.
And didn't he
A
also,
donation doesn't
Exactly.
give you say, you just donate.
and didn't he also build our green wall for, a green fence for
Yeah.
us? Didn't he pay for the green fence?
You're a nice man if you sit
That's what
down
he's
and
talking
talk.
about,
Oh,
the
yeah.
one on.
Get the right person
Southampton.
talking,
Yeah,
I think
exactly
you
right.
will.
Doesn't cost us anything to ask.
Tim,
Go ahead, John.
Yes, John.
I just wanna say something. Mr. Levy's a good guy.
Sure.
I'm serious about it, you know, a lot of people bash him, he's a decent man.
Not me.
If you get the right person to sit down and talk to him, I'd say it'd give some.
We have every confidence in you, John.
You're the
Yeah,
guy.
John.
No.
John, we know you
You're
know
our
him.
salesman.
He's a good man, he really is.
There's no
Mark,
question
Mark
about it.
and him. Mark is a good man too. But,
Alright, early days, but, alright, I'll make that call and we'll get it together.
Fine.
Sounds good.
Great.
Anything else, folks?
Is everybody too tired?
No, I'm not tired.
Okay, good.
Barbara?
I just want to get back, is this our agenda?
Yeah.
For March seventh? No, that was the old agenda, right?
Right.
So
there you
that-
go.
why do I
There's the new
have that? Oh, okay, thank you. I got
You're a
you.
month behind, kiddo.
I know. I don't know where I got that from.
Where are we? We're beyond open discussion, we're at adjournment.
Oh, listen, before you guys adjourn,
There you go.
I don't think I got an answer on my question from before. Should I proceed with Atlantic Southern or should I bring this next week to officers?
No, we did vote on it.
You voted on it.
You-
voted on it.
Excuse me,
Typically what comes out of here, I bring to
it's
officers.
excuse me, we're only a recommendation.
That's what I'm saying.
It has
It's
to go
gotta
to
go to,
officers.
it's gotta go to.
Fine with me.
officers.
Although you have so many offices here, but procedure wise,
Just a couple.
Alright.
a couple, you're an officer. He will be, she will be,
No,
he
no,
is.
we actually have an early officers
Fine.
meeting on the 22nd, so.
Yeah, it's right around the
No big deal.
corner. I mean, I don't care, but I mean, that's the procedure from this, from any committee, it's a
Yeah,
procedure.
that's fine.
I mean, you gotta follow it, you
Yep.
set it up.
Nope, I'm
Yeah,
fine with that.
right.
Alright, that's all I got.
So we move on from there.
Donald, if you ever go to the fence company and I'm here, I'd love to go with you and Stu.
We started doing that and we kinda dropped the ball because other
Let
things
me know
started
when you
happening,
go.
but yeah. I think it's
Well-
down the road, but sure.
Actually, what when we went, we went to, actually, we were checking on fencing for the Haverhill
Yeah.
Road, not actually Century Boulevard.
Well, now we're gonna
Yeah.
check for.
Sure.
Yeah, well, whenever you feel like going, during the week of next week, we'll drive over there
No
and
problem.
Yeah.
and
Long as
get
we
some
don't-
samples and
Yeah.
costs, and as long as we know the length of what we have to do,
We can
just
put
so we
one of
have
those-
something to tell everybody
We can
about.
put one of those concrete slabs in your car, right?
Ah,
I'm kidding.
We'll take the golf cart.
Is that a sample? That's
Listen,
one
I
section.
got 620 pounds of old signage in that
Oh,
old jalopy
jeez.
and got it over to the scrap yard.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know how it did it, but
Are we through?
So that's it, right?
Can I make a motion that we close down?
Yeah.
There you go.
thank you, John.
Dominic, I hope you feel better. Thank you for coming with, how you
I
feel.
We are adjourned.
yes, we are adjourned.
Everybody say.
Excuse me.
Sneezing on the truth.
I woke up the